Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's finally here, my Dragonmaid deck profile. I meant to get this to you guys last month, but my order for Nurse Dragonmaid completely got lost in the mail. So I had to wait. I was going to try to delay this by next month, but I got lucky enough to find a Nurse Dragonmaid for a decent price. So, well, there you have it. My deck is finally completed. It was just that one card that I needed, and boom. But anyway, I just finished putting it together and kind of like worked around some of the ratios to see like what is the best way to play the deck right now. Honestly, I think until Master Rule 5 comes out, this deck will probably get a lot better. And plus, with the correct support cards, it'll definitely shine. So, it does have the potential, just needs a little more work. So, for right now, I gotta play the deck as it is, and yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So, Dragonmaids have an interesting strategy where they basically bounce back from either human to dragon form or dragon form to human form. And also like it's just like a control strategy. It's kind of a mix of a control and an aggression strategy. So, but yeah, again, the deck does have some pretty neat potential in it. So hopefully, again, Konami doesn't waste it. And yeah, I really like what the deck can do. All right, so starting off with the main deck, it's going to be 3 copies of Kitchen Dragonmaid. This is probably the big money card of the deck. Unfortunately, this deck is not cheap by any means. So yeah, hopefully the market will eventually drop it down, but we'll just have to wait and see. But if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Dragonmaid monster from your deck to your hand, except itself, and then you have to send one Dragonmaid monster from your hand to the grave. So this is generally how the strategy usually works. Is like, yeah, it's like this is your primary starter. You search and then you send off a monster to the grave. Usually you want to try to send a dragon form to the grave. That way you can get it back. And at the start of the battle phase, you can turn this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one level 8 dragon monster from your hand or your grave. So the level 3s summon the level 8s, the level 2s summon the level 7s. So that's usually how you tell them apart. Alright, next up, 3 copies of Parlor Dragonmaid. So this is your Foolish Burial-ish card. So this card is normal special. You can send a Dragonmaid card from your deck to your hand, and again, any card, whereas Kitchen has to be monsters. Dragon Parlor sends any card to the grave. And at the start of the battle phase, you can turn this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon a level 8 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or your grave. So same thing as Kitchen. Next, I'm only playing 2 copies of Nurse Dragonmaid. I was opting to 3, but I didn't feel the need to, especially when you have ways to already revive your dragons anyway. This card is normal or special summon. You can target one level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster in your grave, except itself, special summon it, and at the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand to special summon a level 7 dragon. So that's the only reason why I decided to just play 2, because it's just another copy of World Legacy Guard Dragon. Next, only 1 copy of Laundry Dragonmaid. I was thinking of 2, but I think 1 is perfectly fine. You normal summon this card or special, and you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. So it's a good way to try to see if you can send some of your other dragons like Tempest to the grave and just kind of extend from there. And like the others, like Nurse, you can bounce this card back to your hand to special summon another level 7 dragon from your hand or your grave. So it's pretty neat. Alright, so that's it for the human dragons. Now let's move on to the actual dragon forms. Alright, so starting off, you gotta play 3 copies of Dragonmaid Lorepar. This is basically the effect failure of this deck. It's not a quick effect, sadly, but it is still pretty good, especially like during your own turn. If your opponent has a setup board, it's a good way to bait out effects. So like you can let's say your opponent played Hope Harbinger, and you need to play spells, so you can discard this, negate its effects. And at the end of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 3 Dragonmaid monster from your hand. So this just so these do like the backwards effect. They each have their own discard effect, but they also have the effect where at the end of the battle phase, you can bounce it back to your hand and special summon back the level 3 monsters or the level 2s, depending on what level dragon monsters you're playing. Next, 3 copies of Ernest. So this one's the quick effect. You can discard this card, special summon a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand. And at the end of the battle phase, you return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 2 Dragonmaid monster. So this one's actually pretty good for extension. It's a quick effect, like I said, so it's not bad. Next, 2 copies of Dragonmaid Tank Heck. So quick effect, and again another quick effect. You can discard this card, target one Dragonmaid monster you control. It gains 2,000 attack points until the end of this turn. So it's a good way just to push on some damage. And at the end of the battle phase, same thing. You bounce it back to your hand, special summon a level 3 Dragonmaid monster from your hand. So not bad. Next, only 1 copy of Dragonmaid Nudural. Some people don't like this card. I like it because it can bait out stuff. You can bait out negates. Your opponent's going to have to force himself to either use a negate or, like, let's say your opponent has a DD Crow. It's a good way just to bait that out. But you discard this card, target one monster in either graveyard, shovel it into the grave, and it could be any monster, so it's not too bad. At the end of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand. Again, summon out the level 2 Dragonmaid monsters. So they all do pretty much the same thing. And just to get the one-ups out of the way, I'm running one Darkness Metal Dragon, for an extender, as well as Tempest, Dragon Ruler of the Storms. I'm not running Destrudo just because I didn't feel the need to run it. This deck already has a lot of revival pieces on its own, so I really didn't feel the need to run a Destrudo. And plus, I'm not running any Synchros, so that's why. Alright, so that's it for the big boss monsters. Now we'll go ahead and move on to the spells. No hand traps in this deck. I didn't feel the need to. Since it's kind of a combo strategy as well, you need to run more combo pieces. So starting off with the spells, running 3 copies of Hospitality. You special summon a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or your grave in defense mode. Then you can send one Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck to the grave. So it's a good way just to, push forward, your plays. You definitely need those dragons in the grave as much as you can. Next up, 2 copies of Dragonmaid Send-Off. You target a Dragonmaid monster you control, special summon one from a different name from your hand in defense mode, and if you do, return the targeted monster to your hand. And it's a quick play spell, so if you already have House Dragonmaid on play, it's a good way just to get a free pop, and yeah, that's a really good thing. The special summon monster can't be destroyed by battle or card effects until the end of the next turn, so that's also another neat effect too. So Dragonmaid Send-Off is pretty nice, but I think 2 is more than enough. Only 1 copy of the Changeover. It's the fusion card of the deck, and plus it's just a good way just to return monsters to the hand, so that's the only reason to run it. 1 Dragonmaid Welcome, just gives your Dragonmaid, all monsters you control gain 100 attack points and defense points for each Dragonmaid monster you control. And if you control 2 more Dragonmaid monsters, you can target 1 Dragonmaid in your grave, except Welcome. Dragonmaid card, add it to your hand. So another good way for recursion. I think 1 is more than enough. You don't really need multiples of that. 3 Super Poly. Since, it's a dragon deck, you got a lot of Super Poly targets. So I think that's the only reason to run it. House Dragonmaid is pretty much a Super Poly target because you just need a Dragonmaid and a Dragon monster to summon it. And also, I'm also running cards like Starving Venom, Predator Plant Dragon Stapelia, and even Violet Chimera for the Salamangreat matchup, so why not? 2 copies of World Legacy Guard Dragon, just for revival. Not much to say about that. Super Rejuvenation. If I do decide to go Guard Dragon combo, I get hit with an Nibiru, Super Rejuvenation. It's just a good way to keep drawing cards and just kind of set up whatever you need. And it's not once per turn. 3 felt kind of clunky, so I didn't really feel the need to run 3. 1 Dragon Ravine, just to get my dragons to the grave as fast as possible. And already moving on to traps. 3 Downtime. It's your primary searcher, and that's usually what you want to do with this card, is just to search out your Dragonmaid cards. So that's the only thing. The return to hand. Return it to hand, and if you do, return 1 spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand. So that second effect, where you basically bounce back your own Dragonmaids just to bounce back a spell and trap, rarely comes up. But if you're up against a back row heavy strategy, it might not be a bad thing. But again, you mainly just bounce back a Dragonmaid you control to the hand, and if you do, just add another Dragonmaid card. So that's just this is just your primary searcher mainly. You don't really need it for anything else. And then for the last cards I'm playing is 2 copies of Summon Limit. Sometimes I like to go for just pure control and just play Summon Limit just to lock out my opponent from summoning too many monsters. Because if I'm up against an actual combo heavy strategy, they're gonna pick apart my board. So I just kind of want to be woefully prepared for that. All right, so that's it for the main deck. That's 40 cards. Now we're moving on to the extra deck. For extra deck, I'm running 3 copies of House Dragonmaid. This is just your means of spot removal. Anytime you bounce back a Dragonmaid card to your hand, you can pop a card. So that's pretty nice. And it's a soft once per turn. So if you have multiple copies, you can definitely get multiple pops off. So that's pretty nice. 1 Starving Venom, again for Super Poly. Same with Dragon Stapelia and Violet Chimera for the Salamangreat matchups. For my Link monsters, I'm actually running Kita since, Kitchen Dragonmaid is a fire monster. So I figure, if I can get into a fire monster play, this is a good way to go about it. It's good against the Salad matchup, the Sky Striker matchup, and just kind of extend from there. I'm also running Hieratic Seal since, this deck is purely Dragon. BLS, I am running some level 7 and 8 monsters, so I figured why not. Romulus to search out Ravine. I'm also running the basic Guard Dragons, LP and Pisty. as well as Saryuja, just to kind of dig out my deck for like my floodgates and all that. I'm also running Crusadia Avermax just because, you know, it is pretty easy to summon out if I need to. And same with Boral Sword, you know, it's just a game ender, so if you ever need to get into Boral Sword, it's not too bad. Alright, so going into the side deck already. The side deck is pretty neat. I'm running Artifact Lancia just to deal with Orcus and Thunder. I'm also running Scythe and Artifact Sanctum. You know, sometimes I don't need to go full combo, I just go for full control. I found that the Artifact engine is actually really good in this deck, so I figured why not. Same with Nibiru on the side. I'm only running 2 though, I don't really feel the need to run 3. Next for back row heavy strategies, Cosmic Cyclone and Red Reboot. So yeah, just a pretty standard side deck. And again, you know, try out the Artifact engine, see how you like it. If you just want to play this at pure control, you could probably main deck the Artifact engine if you wanted to. So yeah, well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this new deck profile, and as always, I will catch you guys again next time.